there are 5 tools that I always end up coming back to that never leave my tool bag and have helped me rip machines from completely put together all the way down to the frame and then fully built back up again. That have saved me time, they've saved me money, and they also help me fix things way quicker and with less frustration than I used to feel whenever I was approaching machines. If you don't know who I am, I'm Bryce Himmelreich. I own a coffee roasting business. I started it as the roaster and still do the roasting. I also own a coffee shop called Myth and Ember. And I've also been rebuilding espresso machines and working on those for about 8 years now. Whenever it comes to espresso repairs, I've probably seen it, I've probably done it, and these are the 5 tools that I personally reach for every single time I'm going to approach a machine. Full transparency, these are not 5 flashy tools, and they're not the most expensive tools, and people might think I'm weird for them, but they can solve the problems that other shiny tools often can't. So, number 1, this shouldn't be too much of a surprise, but it's actually Knipex pliers. Now, if you don't know what a Knipex plier is, I'm not talking about the Cobras, I'm talking about the regular pliers that are supposed to grip. It's sort of like an adjustable wrench, but one that doesn't strip every bolt, has way better grip strength, and you don't have to sit there and spin every single time you're trying to work on something. Now, is this technically the best option there is whenever you're trying to fix something? No. Does it do a fantastic job? Yes. Is it way quicker? Yes. Do I need a specific wrench for the job whenever I have these? No. Honestly, I have worked on engines, I have worked on espresso machines, I've worked on a lot of things, and often Knipex pliers, if there's room for them, end up being the thing I use to take off any kind of hex nut. It is the easiest thing. Then you end up using it for a lot more than it's intended to, and that works out quite well. So I absolutely recommend Knipex pliers. It is the number 1 thing I would actually reach for. You can get a Harbor Freight Icon brand, and it's okay. I mean, it works. If you're more of a home use person, it's probably easier just to save that money if you're okay with the fact that it's a cheaply made tool. But if you want something that's going to last forever, definitely go with the actual Knipex brand from Germany. This is the safe way to cut corners and not use the exact size wrench every single time. Now, the second thing is actually an O-ring pick with a magnet end. And I will show you that. Now, the reason I clarify with the magnet end is honestly, it was a mistake that I got that one. I just wanted a normal O-ring pick. I spent an extra $1 on one with a magnet end, and I don't know what it's been, but I use that little magnet end. So imagine this pen here. You've got a magnet on the bottom of it, and then you have a pick over the top. But just the amount of times you drop a screw down into the body of an espresso machine, and the length of that pick is just enough where you can reach down in, get the screw with the magnet, and pull it back out is absurd. I've had to take apart entire espresso machines because I couldn't find a bolt that was very uniquely sized that I managed to drop down into the machine. Once I got that problem just about went away. So even if it saves you one time, that's 30 minutes for what is really a cheap tool. And on top of that, you also have the pick end for removing any kind of bad group head gasket or O-ring, especially if you rebuild vacuum breaker valves. So probably the most used tool, the best bang for buck that I have in terms of it was like $7 on Amazon. And now it never leaves my bag. I actually need a new one. I damaged the end of mine trying to do something a little stupid by pulling a metal clip out. Anyway, don't do that. Use it on rubber if you're actually going to use the pick. But that magnet end is going to be a lifesaver, I promise you. All right, number 3. Now, this one isn't as uncommon, but it seems like a lot of people go without these, and I'm not really sure why. It's actually, here we go. It's actually brake line wrenches. These, instead of it being a normal crescent wrench, where you have kind of a half moon, but really only 2 grip points, the point of this is that the wrench itself actually will grip on all 6 sides of whatever you're using. Now, on espresso machines, you're dealing with a lot of brass and a lot of copper. Sometimes you get stainless steel fittings, and that's nice, but usually you're going to end up on a copper unless you're going with a very high-end machine, typically somewhere in the $2,000 plus range. La Marzocco's are usually stainless steel, but even those still use like copper and brass rivets and nuts. It's so easy to completely round off whatever flare nut you're dealing with and turn a 30-minute job into a 4-hour job, and a lot more expensive. Ask me how I know. I absolutely recommend anytime you're dealing with any kind of copper flare nut, you only use brake line wrenches if possible. Just to make this simple for you, Knipex is great on almost anything that's like stainless steel or easy to get to or non-critical parts, but as soon as you start getting into those copper and brass flare nuts, that usually it's going to be the water lines with the copper line running through it, then something usually attached to a boiler. You absolutely want to use a flare nut wrench for that. Number 4, I don't know why more people don't have this in their toolbox. It should be, it's pretty simple. It's a ball end hex bits. I know they're often referred to as Allen keys, but with these, you're usually going to see you've got your hex here. I guess it's 2. Anyway, but then it will come into a ball shape there at the top and flare out in a bit of a weird way. The reason for that is a lot of times whenever you're working on an espresso machine, you would hope that the manufacturer would put all the screws in easy to access places and not immediately nest something on top of that screw or make it to where you'd have to go in at an angle. This is the real world. So, I mean, even on a lot of E61 machines, you're going to find that to take off the body panels, you really have to access it at a weird angle for some of those hex nuts, or you can use a ball end and have something like 60 degrees of rotation on any kind of screw and not have to worry about it. You're not going to strip it out. Now, this is not made for anything that needs high torque or you got to really break off, because you will break off the ball end. The last one is actually the most expensive and least recommended, but once you have one, you really can't live without it, and that is an ultrasonic cleaner. Now, I have a 5-liter ultrasonic cleaner that I bought from the Vivor brand, I believe, and it's worked great. I wasn't too sure that I would actually want it whenever I got it, and here we are. I still use it. It is the best cleaning tool I have. It's really nice, especially if I have a machine that needs some descaling. Drop all the screws in it, all the bolts, all the whatever with a descaling solution or a cleaning solution, whichever one. Don't mix up metals if you're doing a descaling solution. As a pro tip, I've made that mistake. Don't do that. Make sure it's the same metal types, because otherwise it goes bad for you. Anyway, it is such a quick way to clean things, especially if you have any fine mesh screens or flow meters or anything like that. Fully recommend it. It's a great way to make dirty parts, a lot of times with nooks and crannies that are really hard to get into, very clean, very quickly. Again, as recap, you need Knipex pliers, O-ring pick with magnet, brake line wrenches, ball end hex bits, and an ultrasonic cleaner, and all those are super helpful. All that's great. You've got the right tools for the job, some ones that I use a lot, but it doesn't really help you if you don't know what to check first. These tools are tools. You need knowledge on what's actually broken on the machine and how to quickly diagnose that. And we will address that in this video here, and I look forward to seeing you there.